doing today?
We good.
All right, so we have two special guests today, you guys. We have...
Oh, I'm Yabo. I'm a school teacher, and I'm a coach and a personal trainer.
Okay.
And then I'm Nate, and then I work in sales, and I teach dance.
Okay.
Let's get into it. How are y'all guys doing today?
Mighty fine, I can't complain.
How about you?
Woke up on the right side of the dirt, you hear me?
The dirt.
Okay, you guys, today we are discussing interracial dating and friendships from a man's perspective.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So, have either one of you ever dated someone outside of your race?
No, not me.
You haven't?
In particular, no.
I have a hard time believing it.
Why you have a hard time believing that?
I didn't see that.
I thought too.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You look
But
like...
okay, have you ever?
Hunched one? No.
I know
That's gonna be a good one.
I ain't hunched one, I ain't dated one. If you ain't black, I ain't. I'm cool.
Okay.
You said power to the people. Okay.
If you ain't a sister, I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm the exact opposite of y'all.
What's the exact opposite?
Well, because I feel like interracial dating, is that specifically just like the opposite of your particular race, or is that any race outside
Any
of
race.
Yeah.
Any race.
I would say that I've done like a pretty good mix of dating between a lot of different races. Like, I'm not necessarily got a pool of one particular race, you know what I'm saying? I keep it pretty international, so to speak.
International.
I like my food seasoned.
Okay.
Well,
And then she did it hard.
Because I've never dated anyone outside of my race.
Okay,
either.
but why haven't you not?
I believe
Talk to it.
in black love,
Black.
and I feel like anybody outside of a black man can never understand the struggle of a black woman and vice versa. So it's like there's no point. I don't want to have to explain the things that I have to go through every day to you because you don't understand. Granted, I'm pretty sure people are receptive and they know like what's going on, and you know they stand for the people, but like you'll never fully understand the struggles of a black man and or a black woman as a white man or a white woman or a Mexican man and a Mexican woman, you know.
yeah.
That's just me.
I was gonna.
I've never dated outside my race.
Literally.
At first, like, I mean, when I was younger, I'd be like, no, I'm gonna date a black man, you know, but as I get older, which is nothing wrong with that, y'all, but I'm saying, like, now that I'm an adult, it's like, if a white man, a Caucasian man comes to me, or any race,
Or any.
right. You know, I feel like, and you hold those standards, like, you opening my door, you being a gentleman, I personally wouldn't turn that person down.
Right.
You know, especially after giving so many black men chances, and not all y'all are not the same, of course not, but we kind of get tired, you know, and kind of want to experience something else, and that one time you actually do it, you might get married and start a family. So you never know. Like, I'm not against it, but I definitely do want to marry a black man. You know.
You said you had a question.
Yeah, I got a few.
Y'all got something to say.
You know what I'm saying? I hear that rhetoric all the time, but
Rhetoric.
Rhetoric all the time, but you know, black women. Not all black women, of course. We're gonna hear a lot of that, but I'm just gonna nip it in.
Talk about it, brother.
Anyway, so black women hold black men at a different standard than white men, Chinese men, Mexican men. So you can say that, we're gonna, if this white guy, Chinese guy, whatever held me to this standard, I'm not gonna turn it down, blah blah blah. But in the same sense, you're not checking for that man. So a black man has to jump through all like 40 different hoops before he even come talk to you. And he's even worth, that type of time. But if a white man look good, smell good, whatever, you can be like, okay, cool, you know what I'm saying? This is nice. He come up talk to me. Oh, I'm gonna invite that conversation. Let a black man come in here, maybe not your body type, or maybe he didn't have on the newest,
brother.
he didn't have on the newest cologne or the flyest cologne, and you walk by, you like,
But it's
looking at him
women like that for real.
There
Yeah.
is no what I
like.
And I also want to say before, because I want to give y'all, you know what I'm saying? I just want to give y'all two things. I just want to give y'all two things to think about.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, so what y'all both said, because that part for real. And the second thing I'm going to say is, I feel like a lot of women that are African American say they want black men, right? But the men that they often deal with, I feel like are not the standard that they ask for. So I find it interesting that people would pass up on different options considering the options they have are not exactly what they are asking for. And I just put it simple like that.
That makes sense.
Crickets.
So yeah, I have a question for y'all too, like on the statement y'all made. So first with you just saying like we hold black men to a higher standard. But do you feel like it's because of the things that they put us through as black women?
Not at all.
Because I feel like y'all hold us to a higher standard as well. So it's like a white woman does have, not even white, just a different race that doesn't necessarily have to prove herself as much as we do as black women because y'all expect so much. And most of the time it's because of what y'all see. You know.
So that's the flip of the coin debate. So what Yabo don't do is that, but I will acknowledge that for sure. Okay, so the flip of the coin is like, oh, y'all do this, we do this type deal. So how I will answer this is that each black man and black woman hold black people to another standard regardless. You know, that's even outside of relationship. Like, you know, if somebody prefers jazz music or classical, somebody black prefers classical music over hip hop, we're gonna look at that person weird. Or if they can't dance, we're like, all right, bro, like, or they do something weird or out the norm, we're gonna set them aside, period. So black people do that as a whole. Get that out the way. But as far as like relationship and dating goes, black women do put, you know, I'm not gonna say to a higher standard, it's just to another standard, right? To where we have to perform or be a black man, this cookie cutter shape that y'all believe and that y'all have, not y'all specifically, but that black women have trained black men to be. And if we're not that cookie cutter shape of what we're trained to be, then it's over with, you know. And that's even before coming to see you, coming to talk to you. You know what I'm saying?
And that's. And you think that's more so of just dating in general, or how people were raised and brought up?
I think, and that's exactly what I was going to get on. I think it's how we're all raised because in this world, it's like a black woman is raised to be this strong, independent person who don't need a man, you know? And like, that's not okay as well, you know, because then that's all we know. And so then we do push those black men away, or just men in general.
And that's why
so I think that's where you have to grow up and get out of that yourself as a woman.
We don't know how to react to that. Like, hold on. So we kind of like fall back from that. We don't know how to take that in a sense.
Because there's so many of us that was raised by a single mom, a single
Yes.
black woman at that. So it's like, and it's a lot of us that didn't have a black man in the home to give us what the standard is supposed to look like. You know.
And I think that's another thing too. Why a lot of people do date outside their race, and I think what they fail to like take into account is that a lot of African American males do not have that role model to look up to, so they out here searching for it. And people want this stigma, almost like, I want my man to know how to do X, Y, Z, but it's so messed up. But when you come in a different ethnicity, baby, that word changed. When they come from another background, 9 times out of 10 they have that role model to look up to. So they're built to be the person that you actually want. And so you going so hard on this black man, but you got also like he learning too.
Yes.
And so I think that's why a lot of times that sometimes they prefer not to date. You know, like our people, because they're like, he don't know how to do this. He don't know how to
Which
do
makes
that.
it controversial as
Come on with the
well.
words.
It's the drink, no, but what makes it a problem as well is because, again, that is how we're raised. And so it's like, if you don't step out of that, that's all you know. Like, you're really beating up on somebody who is trying to get it together themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it's like you look into people to... You know that they expect that from you, or that not that they expect that from you, but you know that's how people were raised. So it's like you expect them not to treat you that way. To be like, I'm gonna go find a different race or somebody else that isn't like this, because that's all that I know. I know that y'all all are probably like this.
Yeah.
So that's another problem.
I don't know why it's a lot.
Ash, have you ever dated someone outside of your race?
Yes, but I don't have a problem with dating outside my race, but again, like the black men I can relate to. And I was watching another podcast and he was explaining how he dated like an Asian lady and he was upset about whatever was going on in the world. I guess this guy, got shot by the police or whatever. And like, yes, you can be sad because your man is sad, but she wasn't able to relate to him like, damn, they really shot like one of us type of thing. And I feel like I need that.
Yeah.
So that's
You need somebody that can empathize, not sympathize.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So you think
It's like
somebody
understanding.
like outside of your race can't be empathetic towards you?
And
Well,
I
and
Sympathetic towards me, not empathetic.
Yeah, because you can be, anybody can be sympathetic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To have empathy is to actually feel that. You know what I'm saying? If I seen your mama get whipped, I'm like, damn, that's my mama getting whipped. Like, damn. Like if I was seeing somebody Chinese, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Like
just
that's and all, but I mean, there's no connection there for me. You know what I'm saying? There's for others as well. You know, they can fake the funk, but come on, I've been smelled that before. So,
Shontrell?
I was just thinking.
This is his podcast.
I want to know Shontrell's perspective on the whole interracial dating because you're married to a Caucasian man, right?
He is Mexican and German, Hispanic and German.
Okay.
He
Still
was a
interracial?
liberal pasty, but he is Hispanic and German.
So how do how do you I got shut your ass up. You on my bad side laughing. No, but for real, like, so how do you guys like respond to the stares and stuff like that, or with other black women, because some black women can be like, why, or black men staring at him because how the hell did he get her type of shit, so how do y'all respond to that?
I mean, you gotta so for me, I just take it to the chin because everybody is not gonna be okay with you dating basically not your kind or whatever. But for me, I'm the type of person I believe, like, if you love this person, if this person treats you right, if this person do good by you, I'm not turning you away. Like, I'm not like one of those people like, I don't date black men. That was never the case, and I would never degrade or belittle a black man because my dad's black, my brother's black.
Thank you.
Like, I couldn't do that, but it's kind of just like, it's kind of what happened. So when me and Matt met, he's really like my only boyfriend. Like, I've never dated, I never really did anything, so it wasn't like, oh, I'm looking for somebody. I'm looking for a black man, I'm looking for a Chinese man, I'm looking for an Asian man. I was never looking for it. It kind of just happened. And so I was like, okay, let's try it.
So how do y'all feel about some black men bashing black women? And it really gets under my skin when a man said, oh, I don't date black women. It's okay if you don't want to date us, but like that really gets under my skin because your mama's black, your grandmother's black, you are disrespecting them, and like that shit pisses me off. So I don't like the fact when black men do that, and he on my bad side. But yeah, how do y'all feel about that?
Yabo?
Y'all go ahead and have it.
No, because
why? What is the basis
you got something to say.
I mean, I've so on the side of black men who date outside their race, that is the rhetoric that always comes about, right? You degrading black women. Not very often. Is that said, or as if basically why can't we date? I mean, even though I don't date outside race, why can't we? What is the hustle?
It's not the fact
that you can't. It's the fact that there is some degrading that happens because it's always, well, I don't date a black woman because she got an attitude, or I don't date a black woman because
strong personality.
Like Hispanic women don't have attitudes, and Latino women don't have attitudes, and white women don't have attitudes.
as women, we do. But we're just talking about the men
part of the bashing part, like, cause some men do bash. I watch class, so I seen men like, no.
So can we define bashing? Because saying that a black woman has an attitude, that to me, that's not.
So you never heard
bashing
black men say, I don't date black girls, like, in a disrespectful
I think it's
way.
more so like when it's like, I don't date black girls because my mama did this, my mama did that. So you're comparing me to what it is that you grew up with.
Or what
When,
you used to.
you know, we all grew up differently. So it's like, again, if we want to give people those options, we should do that.
Right.
But you can't go into something like, she black, so I know she got attitude because my mama had one.
Right,
No, we grown, we all are different. We may have attitudes, we may not. But you don't have to figure that out.
If somebody compare you to their mama, they got a problem.
But that's what happens though, is people grow up. It's never really about the person that you're trying to get to know. It's really about what you've seen. It's really about who you grew up around. So that's what people are basing it off of.
Definitely. But to say black women have an attitude, yeah, I mean, black women do have attitudes. I mean, it just is what it
And
is.
so do other races.
Correct. But just, I date black women, so I'm gonna say, well, I'm not gonna, if I wasn't to choose, I don't date black women because I'm gonna say that the women that they encounter, okay, all them black women had an attitude. So guess what? They're gonna get all grouped together. It just kind of is what it is. Like, there's a lot of women who,
So,
you know,
but it's an issue when we say all men ain't shit.
Right. Or like, whatever.
Or all men cheat and all men,
No,
you know.
I mean, it's the same rhetoric, right?
It's the same.
It's the exact same rhetoric, right? But I mean, we don't call that bashing. Like, I'm not gonna say he don't.
What's
but
bashing to you?
For me, bashing is like, oh, you,
Like
that
cheating,
you broke as hell, you
Yeah.
crusty. You. That's, to me, that's what bashing is.
But as-
literally taking your character and been like, oh, you broke as hell, or you ain't shit, you ain't got nothing. That's bashing. But to say you got an attitude, okay, you probably do got an attitude. Okay, it is what it is. You know what I'm
I mean,
saying?
but it's a lot more that comes with that.
There's a lot
Y'all talking
more. That's
about
what
like
yeah.
the pigmentation of our skin,
etc.
pregnant
Our
women
hair.
who aren't able to work out and lose that, you know, that baby weight or something. It's the little shit that really get to us. So definitely, we consider that shit bashing. That's offensive because you wouldn't go to your mother. If somebody say that shit to y'all mama, y'all like, oh no, you ain't talking about my mama, whoopty whoop whoop. But we consider that bashing as women, not just black women or all of us. Cause like, what the fuck?
Like y'all ain't got attitudes. Run around here.
I just want to ask a few questions. Do you feel like the first question I ask is, do you feel like it would be wrong for a man to say that he wants to date outside his race because he wants his child to have good hair?
Okay, let's get on that.
Because I'm curious to know.
That's
Not just men, women too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for
Definition
sure.
of good hair. So
Yeah.
Like,
That's
I guess you could say, yeah.
Most people are not thinking about that. They just
Right.
like, if I have a person with a different race, that means that their hair is going to be
Or they're gonna be
long or curly.
not even just the hair, just the
the
overall
light skin.
appearance.
Look.
Just because your child is mixed or just because you want
it doesn't.
doesn't mean you're gonna have a prettier baby. Because I done seen some ugly ass mixed kids. Let's just talk about that.
I'm not.
Sorry. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, we're not gonna talk about
We're
that.
What is the definition of good hair?
Well, and then the other thing that I'll say is, I feel like what's interesting about this this standard that we talk about, we put people on, is that like the same standard we put black men or women on, we don't put on our black brothers or our black sisters, like our actual brothers and sisters. And so
let's step into that.
I find it interesting that like we talk about the man or women, for example, like let's talk about this conversation. Women talk about the man that they want, but their brothers or their uncles or their fathers are not those people. And then the same thing for men as well, as that I feel like, you know, and I'm not trying to call nobody out, I'm not trying to say anything. It's just say that like we say we want something, but that's not what we have in our lives. So I think that we need to take into consideration when we talk about something we want, it is something that we're almost like, it's a desire, not necessarily a reality or expectation.
But do you think that
Do you
that
agree
word
with that?
is it derives from the lack of? Like I want it because I didn't have it.
I mean, I think that's everything is like, you know, you want what you can't have. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. You know what I mean? I'm just
So I
saying.
have a question.
Yeah.
Do you feel like if somebody is raised a certain way, or your brother, your uncle, whomever is a certain person, you should be going for that standard? Do you not
I'm
feel
not.
like,
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I just mean that like if you are pursuing a man that is a certain standard, I feel like if that's the type of man you want in your life as your husband raising your kids, why not hold that same standard to like your brother or your uncles?
you
or your...
can, that doesn't mean that person is going to change.
I hear what I completely understand what you're saying, but I think just consider the fact that if that man won't change, the man that you're seeking or that you experience might not also change as well.
I think the difference that one would be like, I'm not having sex with my mama. Like I'm not dating my mom. I'm not dating.
No,
my mom.
I guess what I'm.
That standard
Yeah,
is
I
No,
don't
but
I to the standard that
I don't feel like you
I
can.
think okay. So as what I mean specifically about that is like, which is kind of like a side part of what I'm saying is like we talk about the standard. Like people want something but don't want to grow with that person. So I feel like again we talk about the men or the women that they experience. They're like, oh, they're not good enough, or they're not that person for me, or maybe they're not the man that I want. But I don't feel like people are often willing to grow that man or grow that
That's
woman.
better said.
Yeah.
That's way better said. Okay.
So you saying like, okay, I meet a man at a level that, I mean, I'm not saying shit daddy, but say you meet a man at a level that your uncle or whoever is at.
Yeah.
You don't want to be at that stage with him. You want him to be at a different stage.
Right.
So
And
you
then
say people don't want to grow with
You
them.
want
Right.
somebody complete, not incomplete.
But I feel like
Exactly.
as women too, you gotta be on that level, the same level you want your man to be.
Yeah,
at.
absolutely.
And that's
But,
just something
like,
realistic that we don't really have too. People.
it
not
just goes
everybody,
back
I'm
into
talking
that
about
standard too. It's just like if you're talking about the standard on a dating level, like you'll never reach that potential that you seek because of the way that you try like decipher in your dating, you know?
Okay,
That makes sense.
I agree with that.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But I just feel like, you know, we talk about the interracial dating, and what I find just like most fascinating is that people feel like other races. I feel like it goes in kind of a category. It goes like a white person and so forth and so. Probably go white, Mexican, Asian, so forth and so on. As far as like the men that or women that don't understand your race. But I feel like one thing people should consider is like, as we talk about the empathy versus sympathy, is I feel like part of the racial divide that we have is in this dating realm as well. So like I don't think are as aware of how we can control the narrative when it comes to race. And so like dating in or outside of your race, like there are a lot of white men, Mexican men, Asian men that are progressive for like people's rights of their own race. So I feel like when someone says like, I don't feel like someone understands my race, like even if you're comparing races, like how could you not see a man who's progressive and Asian as just as valuable as a black man who is also progressive in his own race? Do you see what I'm saying?
I agree.
Yep. Polites are different.
What are
Polites are different.
polites?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to elaborate on
So polite is basically another word for like oppressions. They're different. The situations are different.
that? But
You know what I'm saying? Like I can definitely be with somebody,
you know,
break to those laws,
I'm
you know.
gonna tap
Woo,
into that
great.
again.
You know, I feel it, but in the same sense, for me, I'm not open to it, and a
Mhm.
lot of people are not open to it. Like I
Right.
can see, like, oh, okay, great, you're doing great for the Native American community. You're doing great for this community, but you know, I can sympathize with you because, like, dang, that happened to us too. But I can't empathize.
But let me
You know, so it's like a wall placed there, and a lot of people have that wall.
You know, I'm gonna agree to disagree on some form or fashion, and I'm gonna only say that because part of the problem, and this is a different topic, but like to get back in that topic and to kind of come back to what we're talking about, part of the problem with like race, interracial dating, all of these things, and the narrative has a lot to do with how we choose to like devalue someone else and value ourselves over someone else. And like I think we need to really have a conversation about how we can, for that example, disregard a Native American. Hey girl, ain't nobody about to get you.
Your hands is long.
I feel like as we talk about like someone disregarding a Native American man or woman who's progressive in their race, opposed to like a black man or woman who's progressive, like that's part of the problem when we talk about why we start to devalue races. Like, how is what this person as a human being doing not good just because they're not black, or not just as good because they're not black?
And I don't think anybody is saying that they're not good or whatever it is that they're doing. I think they're just saying that they don't understand exactly what it is that they're going through.
Right.
And I just think some people really just feel like they will never understand. And like they...
That's that level, baby. Don't y'all get it twisted.
It's literally like this. You got a basketball player and a football player. You asking somebody to play basketball to come play football. They ain't never touched a football in his life.
But how do you know they've never touched a football? Like, again, what I'm talking
Okay,
because the example I'm giving is like, we're talking about...
Because she was, okay, if we're being realistic, they wasn't born black. That's
No,
just
I hear what
they can't be born black, they will never be black. That's the whole point.
Okay, but let me interject. Oppression is not a race. Oppression is on all levels, and that's what I'm saying. Like, what you all are describing is a feeling oppressed or going through oppression, whether it be through your ancestors or your personal experience. And oppression has happened on all levels with all races, and I feel like that's what we're not willing to negotiate with, because it's not a black oppression experience.
People are, they just don't want to.
If you want to take this like that from a historical point, in America, other races have rode the oppression of blacks all the way to this day.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but that's not the conversation that we're per se having.
But
it's being brought up.
It is, but like, I'm just saying. I think taking it, I know, but I just think taking into consideration when we talk about this interracial dating is that like the Native American white, or not white man, but the Native American, the Asian, the Ghanaian, Nigerian, Jamaican, whomever other man or woman that you might pass up because you think their oppression is not as valid as your black oppression experience, or you don't understand it, I think is part of the bigger problem when we talk about interracial dating and even just race in general.
So one last thing is, I think most of the time it's like, do you feel like if somebody's dating, do y'all feel like they can understand that? I feel like that's the point of why people don't. It's because you will never really feel like they could understand. I think that's what holds people back. It's not necessarily like, oh, you did this with your race, that it's different. It's just like some people truly feel like they will never understand
Even
if
though
they get in that
saying,
circumstance.
I understand, I get you, I understand, I feel for you. It's like, how do you understand that you're not black? You know?
I guess let me ask the question:
I
is how do
have
you?
a question really quick for the lady who's actually married to somebody outside of their race.
Yeah.
And this conversation has been going on, and you ain't said, I mean, you cut. But anyway, so how do you feel when it comes to basically what we've been talking about? How do you, if, for instance, Philando Castile or Sandra Bland, things that happen, how was that conversation in the household?
Yeah. He like when I don't know, Matt, he a different breed. Like for me, when we have those conversations, it's kind of like, I'm not gonna say like I'm talking to somebody like me, but he never made it feel like he know that he's privileged. And I think that's what sets him different, because when you can actually know and admit that you're privileged, he like, it's not like, I'm sorry that I'm privileged, but like I know that I'm gonna be treated different from you. So he's like, that sucks. Like, y'all shouldn't be treated like that. And so, yeah, he would never truly feel like, know what I know when I see a black person, or be scared to come home, or be scared for our son. Like, certain things, like, I know that he won't, but he understands. Like, I feel like you can be understanding even though you don't feel it.
Right.
But it can still also, like, tug at your heartstrings a little bit. Even they be like, yeah, you can't empathize with me or whatever, but I feel like they can still, tug at your heart a little bit, like, dang, like, that really hurt my feelings, even though I feel like it's kind of like this. Like when we see another woman having like in a domestic violence relationship, don't matter what race she is, you're going to feel like, dang, like she's still a woman. And I feel like for a man, it can be that way too. Like he's still a man, like he still got a family, he still got people that love him, he still, even though he's not his color, he can still feel for him because he is a man. Don't nobody want to see another man being belittled, being downgraded, being beaten, being disgraded in front of their kids and their family. So I think he can feel on that aspect. But instead of be like, he'll never know what another black man feel like. So, but he can understand. He can try to be understanding with it. I think that's where you gotta try to at least be understanding with him or another race. Now they got some races that be like, or some relationships rather, that'll be like, nah, why you so mad about that? Like, he just did that. And then that's what the problem is, because it's like, okay, well, now you're not even, you can't even understand that. But when you can sit there, you could be understanding with me, then it's like, okay, I feel you.
So my question would be actually that understanding piece is the hugest piece with you and your relationship. So if he did not have that understanding, say for something happened, he was like, oh, okay, game.
Yeah, no, then we got a problem, because I'm like, okay, hold on, you don't run that back. Like, you don't feel where I'm coming from with it or whatever. Like, you either want to acknowledge my feelings, because obviously that hurt me, or that hurt us, you know, like that affected me. And so when we need to acknowledge that, because if something like that was happening to you, I'm going to acknowledge it, and I'm going to make sure you're okay. That's one. And then two, I need you to understand, do you understand what just happened here? Do you understand how long it's been going on? Do you understand the things that we endure? Do you understand these things? And if you can't understand that, you can't even give it that, and it's like, it's a problem.
I had to hear from the woman that was in actual interracial relationship. You know.
That's a good perspective.
Yeah, for sure. That's rough for me. But real talk, like it's really rough, like, cause for me in my thinking, like it's hard for me to like sit down and have that conversation, like, do you understand what's going on?
No, I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you to like.
I know what you mean, but like I don't want to question. Do you understand what the hell is coming out of my mouth? Like I'm pretty stuck. You know what I mean? Like that's like the hugest like.
I shouldn't have to explain to you or check in to make sure that you understand.
And that's the thing, like, I feel like when our relationship, I don't have to check in. I don't have to make it to a point where it's like a conversation, like, do you understand what just happened here? Like, it's never been like that.
It has always.
It's there always.
So I got a question. Because, like, I'm open to the other race and just different races in general. I prefer the black man, of course. But if anything was to happen, things happen, you know. But my question is, do you feel like if you were to be with somebody who was a different race, you couldn't sit there and like explain to them? I don't want to say explain, but like have that conversation with them. Do you not feel comfortable? Do y'all not feel comfortable doing that?
I think I would, because I would want you to.
Because you want them to understand, and like, okay, so I was watching a podcast yesterday, and it was the lady on Bachelorette or whatever. She was black. She ended up being with the white man. And she basically said that he asked her stuff, and then he asked like about just black history, just black things in general. And then she said she was happy that he actually did that because he asked her, did it make her upset? And she said she would prefer him to do those things so that way he knows like what's going on and he's aware. Do y'all?
I feel like, excuse me, touching base on the first part of it, I feel like it's touchy because it's like I get the whole not exactly under like explaining to them or asking like if they understand or whatever, but it's still something that's like there's too much shit that's going on nowadays for you not to know. And even if it didn't necessarily happen to you, if you cared enough, you would look into it yourself.
Okay, and I don't mean like you sitting there explaining every single thing, but y'all actually discussing that. Because, I mean, if we being realistic, if you with somebody black that don't follow none of that, they don't really know anything as well. There's a lot of black people that don't follow anything, so they don't know. A lot of black people don't know stuff that happens. So it's just like
you can have that like Negroes not know history and still get pulled over by the police and have a whole problem,
I get that.
right? And still feel something.
Because there are a lot of things that I don't know, like as sucky as it may sound. And there's a lot of things that I don't know because I don't like watching the news. Like that shit hurts my heart, especially now as a black woman with black kids, you know? If we're talking about all of that stuff. So there are certain things that I turn my cheek to because it's like, it hurts.
So it's like, what if you were with a black man that didn't like that as well? For you to turn your cheek and not pay attention to it.
It's not that you don't necessarily pay attention to it, because I'm aware of everything that's going on. It's just, I lost my train of thought.
You don't really like watching it.
Yeah, like I know what's going on, and of course I always be able to empathize with the things that are going on because I'm a black woman, like, you know. So, but I feel like as another race, as much as you try to empathize. You really can't.
That's where the understanding part comes in for me. So I understand, like, I love that he tries to understand, and he's, you know, he wants to know how you feel about things. So I feel like that would be very important if they can't feel what we actually feel. So, yeah.
Feeling, I do agree with that. Just like when you were saying, he asked her about, like, did it hurt her or anything like that. Me personally, I don't think I would have an issue explaining that to him because everybody was taught different with history. So the way someone taught him about African American, you know, his family probably like grew up like that and stuff. So he wants a better understanding because the way he was taught is probably completely different how it really was, you know, and stuff like that. So us explaining it and him asking, like, how do you feel about that? He's trying to understand, like, not fully understand, but, like, feel that, you know, because, so I would do that. I wouldn't have a issue doing that, you know.
And I wouldn't have an issue doing that either, but it's just like, I don't want to. Like, let's be real. I don't want to. Like, I want you to understand, and I don't want to have to teach you anything. You know. And like I said, I'm all for the black love and white.
Yeah, I tell you.
This scares me.
Oh, shucky. That's hilarious. But yeah, on another tip, like, too, outside of, like, you know, what we've been talking about is, for me, the reason why I don't is because, I get tired of being looked at funny by other folks. Like, y'all know me, you know what I'm saying? I can be the drunk uncle anywhere I want to be. I can be loud as I want to be, and guess what? Y'all gonna understand me. But I get these white folks and these Mexicans and these Indians looking at me like, oh my God, I'm a fucking sideshow.
Basically,
sideshow. But, you know, but y'all understand, like, my rhetoric, where I'm coming from, like, I can definitely educate, you know, speak with another vernacular, but then I can come to y'all drunk uncle. Y'all all gonna understand everything that I got to say. Everything. Like, oh, shucky the hey there. Y'all like, oh, y'all do that, right? But that's what they like, what is hey there?
Oh my God.
Bro, I'm not trying to, like, you know, I'm not trying to reteach you nothing, you know, whatsoever. And so I run across that all the time. And so I remember one time I actually did try to talk to somebody outside my race. It was the most awkward thing because I didn't know how to go about it. Like, whether should I speak proper English or should I, like, be myself or what do I do? And I was like, hello, how are you? That's how I don't know. Hello, how are you?
That's a great one. How do you come up?
That don't even sound like.
I feel like that SpongeBob. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to come about it. So I was like, you know what? Let me just stick with my sister.
I feel like a lot of people don't talk about that. Like,
and I have been on. I went on a date with a white man before, and it was awkward as hell. Like,
but like, did you make it awkward?
I didn't.
That's what I'm like.
It was just
Did you? Okay, so when you guys are going on these dates, are you guys going with a different perspective?
That's what I'm saying. Cause
are y'all going in like, hell no, I'm really on this date with this Caucasian
I was
man.
really open to it because I mean, he was cool or whatever. I was really open to the date. I honestly, it didn't work because he thought he could buy me with his money.
That's the thing.
And it's like, you know, your fancy car and you buying all my friends drinks at the bar, like. That shit ain't impressing me. I can buy my own fucking drink, you know? But that's why it didn't work. But
what you?
Malika.
You not to do that.
You want to my
They accept Visa, MasterCard, Apple Pay, Cash App, anyone you want. Give it to that bartender right there.
I got 6 friends.
No, it was
what
like,
you want? I got
like
6 friends.
He was like, hey, whatever you want, tell your friends to get whatever they want.
Ran up in there. And so he's standing right there. with 2 or 3 of them hoes. Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I just honestly, I just can't get with it.
Try your luck.
From a cultural standpoint, I can't get it with outside of the deepest conversation. Just from a cultural standpoint, I'm not trying to reteach nobody nothing. I don't want to have to tell somebody, you know, what. Well, even though I don't want to have to teach somebody what fried bread is, sweet potato pie, how to fry some chicken, or whatever. I don't want to have to do that.
But wouldn't that
What if they don't know how to
not
cook
be
in
like
their black?
Wouldn't that not be like a
Just don't go in my kitchen. I know I can rag on your ass. Go on about your business.
But you can't cook with a white one.
I never said I
All I'm gonna say is
all this. What is this? And you don't know what collard greens is. You don't know what black eyed peas is. You don't know what yams is. Come on now.
What you gotta say?
it just comes. What it sounds like is it just comes down to your willingness to negotiate.
Yeah, because I'm like, if you love that person, you're not gonna like.
How do you can't fall in love with nobody if you don't start?
But you're not giving them a chance.
Yes, that's the
Like, what if they really want to learn because that's something that you love?
And like, if we be realistic, how about the things that we want to learn from them? Like, you wouldn't want to be with a Hispanic and like want to learn Spanish and just different things like that. Like, I would if I was
To the south side, I'd be all right.
No, see, that's not. I'm not straight away from y'all, but I am up for learning new cultures. Like,
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not gonna.
because you have to also be taught.
So you're not open at all to dating outside your race.
I'm not.
Okay.
So do you? Not even to jump
Bet y'all
subject
see
real
the
quick,
burrito.
but do you date mixed girls?
Well, I'm.
Because that's
Dad is Caucasian, you know you are what your dad is.
They say. I feel like they all. I feel like they all. Like, I don't.
Then you got
I don't
check the
consider
camera,
like-
Ashley. Everybody cut it right there.